So, the topic that many users are interested in is comparing two flagship devices from two big companies like Samsung and Apple's. I'm no exceptions. As soon as I got my hands on the Galaxy S23 ULTRA, I have to test everything out to see which device is better this year. The more I use, the more interested I became. This year, Samsung has made a significant improvement to compete with iPhones. This improvement is so good that I have to ask, are you guys ready to say goodbye to iPhone? But don't worry, in this video, I'm not gonna praise Samsung from start to finish. I'm gonna still point out some aspects that Samsung still falls short comparing it to iPhone. One of the aspects is the animations and the haptic feedback on the iPhone, which is really smooth and pleasurable. People often wonder why iPhone provides such a really good experience. However, that's just a really small factors. So in today's video, I'm gonna go through every aspect with these two phones to give you some detailed insight. Hi, I'm William and welcome back to ThinkView. Okay, I would like to talk about the software experience first. That may be the reason why people stay loyal to iPhone. When it comes to smoothness, both devices are quite compatible, but many people admit that iOS feel a bit smoother, although they don't know why. In my opinion, it's because the animations on the iOS feels more natural. Let me give you guys some example. For instance, when swiping up from the bottom for multitasking, One UI quickly moves the app from left to right, while the iPhone is smoothly scale down the app a bit and bring it to the center of the screens. The more natural example is when you slowly swipe up to return to the home screen. While it works fine when you swipe quickly, but if you do it slowly on the Galaxy S23 ULTRAs, it creates a slightly laggy motion. On the other hand, on iOS, it feels more fluid, as the app smoothly follows the movement of your fingers. A third example is scrolling while reading. If you swipe up a little faster on one UI, the web quickly shoots up, sometimes causing you to miss the content and requiring you to scroll up again. In contrast, on iOS, scrolling is more natural, it giving you a sense of control over what's happening on the screen. But if the iOS scores somewhere around 9.5 in terms of user experience, then the One UI on the S23 Ultra is somewhere around 9. And to some Windows laptop user, it could be a solid 10. It's because One UI offers extensive features that synchronize with Windows laptops. You just need to go to the Connect Device sections, link them, and you're good to go. This is also the section when you can connect with other devices with Samsung ecosystem. If we talk about the completeness of both device and features, I am completely satisfied with this ecosystem. So basically, the One UI and the iOS are good. So the choice between them depends on your needs. So, in terms of the design, both of them are quite large, and personally, I think the design of the S23 Ultra is more inspiring. Additionally, this year Samsung has focused on enhancing the real hand feels by reducing the curvatures and flattening the edge. When holding it, it feels more luxurious without the sense of fragility from the previous years. In my opinion, I think Samsung should maintain and optimize the design for many years to come. But when we talk about durability of the edge materials, I think iPhone is better. Based on the information on papers, the iPhone 14 Pro Max is based on steels. Steel is considered more premium than the aluminums. In reality, I also noticed the edge of the iPhones are more resilient, with fewer scratches and paint peelings. Although I don't use case for both of them, but the S23 Ultra still has an unreasonable scratch on one of the corners. We know that scratches are unavoidable, and even on the internet, there are plenty of reports of paint peeling on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. But based on my personal experience over the years, the iPhone outer shells remain slightly more reliable in terms of durability. Regarding the displays, both devices has a stunning display quality. However, as I mentioned before, the edge-to-edge display of the Samsung provides a more immersive experience when interacting with it. In terms of audio quality, I think that both devices are the same. They both delivering excellence and detailed sounds. In terms of performance, the A16 chips on the iPhone 14 Pro Max is stronger in terms of CPU performance, but the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 on the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is stronger in terms of GPU performance. However, right now there are limited software or games available to fully utilize the power of these chips. Therefore, any comparisons of raw performance should be limited to benchmarking and for reference purposes. However, what's more significant when these chips can affect other aspects, such as the battery life and camera. In terms of battery life, the iPhone 14 Pro Max still offers a slightly better endurance. The iPhone is still more optimized in terms of performance per watt in daily apps like YouTube, resulting in slightly better battery life. However, the difference is minimal, and I think Samsung is closer the gap. And I think this year Samsung did a really great job improving the battery life on the S23 Ultras, creating a significant competition with the iPhones. It also created a benchmark for other Android phones to enhance their battery life. Finally, I want to talk about the cameras. And I think this aspect is very important in every smartphone nowadays. In terms of video recording capability, Samsung has made a significant improvement this year. It no longer suffers from drop frames, and in most cases, it is comparable to iPhones. However, if I decided to buy a vlogging camera, I don't think I choose Samsung because when switching between the cameras on the S23 Ultras, there is still a slight stutter, unlike the smooth experience on the iPhones. For vlogging, I need the flexibility of the cameras, which the iPhone provides. When it comes to photography, I always prioritize the Galaxy S23 Ultras. It consistently produces a more vivid photos compared to the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Please note that when I say vivid, it doesn't mean that it oversaturated image or is just overly enhanced to the point of sacrificing details. In this case, it is no color or overly pushed. The tones are just right. It gives a brighter and fresher feel compared to the iPhone, while still maintain the excellent details. When I look back at the photos, I can't help but admire the beauty. However, winning in terms of color renditions is subjective because most of us apply several layers of filters, and even iOS allows us to customize the color profiles and set it as the default. Alright, next, to achieve the more decisive victories, the 3x telephoto cameras is the key. I'm not referring to well-lit conditions because the formula remains the same. Choose the color you prefer. However, in low-light situations, the 3x telephoto cameras in the S23 Ultras capture more details. The subject face remains prominent, and even the hair strain are more clear compared to the iPhone 14 Pro Max. When it comes to 3x portrait photos, I always choose Samsung because, in addition to better details, the colors are already beautiful out of the box. As for the wide-angle cameras, I find the level of detail to be comparable between the two devices, but the iPhone has slightly wider field of view. Oh, but that's only the last camera on the iPhones. Samsung has a fourth camera on the 10x optical zooms, and I must say it's excelled in capturing street scenes. One minor issue is that Samsung still has a shutter lag that hasn't been completely fixed. In summary, I think Samsung did a really good improvement this year. I know there are some aspects that Samsung still falls short compared to iPhone, but there are some aspects that Samsung surpass it. And I think Samsung really create a level playing field with the iPhone in terms of the camera performance. In summary, this year Samsung has improved in the area that iPhone fans appreciate the most: camera, battery life, software, and ecosystems. However, is it enough for iPhone fans to say goodbye to their iPhones? I think it's not enough. Because being a fan of a particular brand goes beyond simply being better than the single generations. Samsung needs to demonstrate stability and continuously improvement over time. While their current devices are impressive, it's hard to predict how they will perform in the futures. So for those who don't know which flagship to choose, or those who are really tired of iPhones, I hope this video helps you. Feel free to share your opinions on the comment sections, and don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is William, and I will see you in the next videos. Goodbye!